I'd always laughed at stocksfc because I could never see a way it would ever be successful after the notorious collapse of Football Index, with how many users were affected, how much money was lost, to go out and try and build another football stock market. It just didn't make sense to me. But recently, they have been gaining some momentum. You know, they signed with Nepenthez, they signed with Harry Trades, they got over $1 million market cap now. So I started to think, what is going on with this? It can't just be a football index part 2. It has to be giving fans some sort of confidence to go out and put that much money into a platform so similar to football index. And I really wanted to know about it. And wherever I saw it on Twitter, it was just like, it's sustainable. Read the white cap. It's sustainable because of this. And it's like no one ever actually dived into the facts. And I thought, do you know what? I'll do it myself. Here is my assessment about if stocksfc is sustainable or not. Of course, it's just my opinion, but I think I'm well versed. I'm a financial accountant. I've been in crypto since about 2017, so I've seen my fair share of scams. But before we get into it, I've got to look like an accountant. Much better. Now, doing this analysis, of course, I want it to be completely unbiased and to give a true perspective as I can. In order to do that, I had to reach out to the stocksfc guys, get as much information as possible. So this isn't a sponsored video, but they gave me $50 to trial the platform, and I put 50 quid of my own money in. Because to do a true analysis, you do have to use the platform and understand the risk, understand the mechanics behind it, how everything works as best as possible. Now, I've only been using the platform for 2 or 3 weeks, so not 100% unbiased, not an expert that's been using it for years, just a fair analysis of my opinion of what the platform's like. So I hope you find this helpful. Most important to me was their revenue stream. And right from the start, you can see in the white paper, it says they have 3 sources of revenue. So that was really interesting to me because obviously it's a great start to the analysis where you have multiple income streams so that if one income stream dries up, you're allowed to use the other ones to make up for the gap. That's going to stop these, major downward spirals and panic in the market. And what they was revenue from staking, trading commission, and IPO commission. Now, immediately, it was a bit of a red flag when a lot of your revenues are all dependent on each other. If people are leaving the platform, you're not going to have high amounts of trading commission, so you're not going to have high amounts of IPO commission. If you don't know, IPO is like initial player offering. It's essentially where they first market a player to the stock market, so it's their first time getting it. They set the price, and then you can get up to 100,000 copies of that player, and yeah, essentially like that. So those two are heavily linked, and then the other one is good, but also has its concerns in the forms of staking. Now, in terms of staking, they're of course staking Ethereum, like I hope you are at home, I know I am, but that doesn't mean that it's riskless or it's free money. In fact, almost the opposite. A lot of these staking protocols are highly risky, and we've seen staking protocols before go bankrupt and you lose all your money or they get hacked. Thankfully, I did see it is insured to a ridiculous value. So essentially you could consider it fully insured, which is great in terms of savings, but I don't see it as a true income stream. If you think you're probably getting 3 to 4% of your initial deposit on an annual basis, unless your initial deposit is millions and billions, you're not going to be able to sustain a huge drop in trading commissions and IPO commissions. So the idea of multiple revenue streams is absolutely fantastic. In the graphs here where they explain, the longer time goes on, the less you need to focus on commissions because of the fact that you have staking income, and the staking income will be greater, of course it will, the more players that there are. But at the same time, I think they're all still too interconnected to the point where, if you're starting to lose users, you're going to start to lose all of your revenue streams at the same time. So I think these positive perspectives where, you don't need as much commission over time, you don't need to sign up new users, it's probably understated how much more importance it actually has. Even if you are staking and everything goes fine, it's fully insured. The other point to note is that they're staking Ethereum, and the risk isn't just that it'll be hacked or it'll be gone, and because of course it's fully insured, you'll be riding the price fluctuations. So currently, ETH is on an absolute skyrocket. It just keeps going up every week. But we know that doesn't last forever. The whole point about cryptocurrency is it's volatile. It's small market caps compared to gold and the stock market itself. So these fluctuations will heavily impact the payouts. So at the moment, everything's going up. Everyone's making more money. The more money you're getting, the more people are buying the players, and so on. But the exact same happens on the downtrend. So my advice to them, if I'm sure they will watch this, is maybe it's the time now where prices are starting to reach all-time highs. start splitting that staking up. You got bank deposits, so you're getting some of your income through ether staking, some of it through cash deposits, so you'll split your risk a little bit. Sorare notoriously did this, but at the bottom. So at the bottom of the crypto prices, they flipped everything to cash, so now we've not seen the benefit of the rise. So do it the right way, and at the top of the market you say, now we're going to diversify and slightly reduce the risk and have less reliance on the crypto market. So in my unprofessional opinion, I would say that the business still relies heavily on new users joining the platform or current users spending more on the platform, like we see in most of these projects. Sorare relies on that, Pookie relies on that. It's nothing new. But at the same time, I think they understate the fact of the importance of new user growth. Like for any business, you need to keep your current fans happy and keep them spending money. And after revenue, of course, you would dive into your expenses. And no, I don't have all of their expenses in front of me. It's very rare you would ever share that as a business unless you are a shareholder in the business, which of course I'm not. But I do get to kind of estimate some of their costs. From what I've seen, I don't see this business being a really high expense, really high cost business. I see it being pretty easy to run, where expenses stay relatively flat across a long time period. The key cost for them will be the licensing. So in order to get these players, they actually do have a licensing, they've told me. You'll have expenses like the site upkeep and everything else. But I think where the majority of these costs would come from is employees at the business, and currently they only have 3 employees. So if they're able to maintain $1 million market cap plus and still grow, I'm not seeing huge red flags in this area. I can't see ways where they really need to grow their expenses. So that would be a big green flag for them, because although they said they're looking to expand into the top 5 leagues in the world, currently they just do the Premier League. Even that wouldn't be too much of an impact there. But at the same time, understand, if you're dealing with a business that only has 3 employees, things might be a bit slower, things might not be as safe. All of these different aspects should be considered, and it's your own personal risk tolerance at that point. So if I am correct in the sense the expenses should be relatively flat and obviously maintainable at the moment, then every new user they get, where this growth does start happening, and then you get this cyclical effect as, the better that people are doing, the more they share their returns, the better they're doing, the more people get on higher prices, for example. That would be really positive for the business, where they just get a higher split of the cost. Because if they take a fixed percentage of what comes into the business, then if that number's bigger, then of course they get a bigger split, despite the split maintaining the same percentage. Hope that makes sense. It's simple math. But the next part I wanted to dig into was kind of that revenue split, because what is most important to these platforms? Yeah, I'm going to go with that. What is most important to these platforms as a user is how much you can get out of it. So whatever you put in, fine, but it's like, okay, well, how much do I win? Or how much can this player go up in value? And it's really difficult to understand that because of the payout system being quite complex, and the fact you buy and sell players whenever you like, and then they get paid essentially like a dividend, but not really a dividend, if they perform well in football games on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and a season-long basis. That's all very confusing to try and work out expected value. Now, what you'll be seeing at the moment is people putting huge numbers out there, huge ROI figures, saying, I made this back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 months. But of course they do, because it's one of those things where if you get in early, you're getting cheaper prices. Then if people want to join, they've got to buy them off you. You own those stocks, so you're getting a better price where you can put it back into the platform. And if that growth keeps going, we've seen it in multiple different games and multiple different industries, to be honest, that are, financial markets. The earlier you get in, the better. And those returns slowly diminish over time, because you can't be sustainable to keep doing that unless you are generally a Ponzi scheme like Football Index was. So if you were going to get involved, getting in early is always a better idea, but it doesn't make it a good idea, because at some point the growth stops and the diminishing returns kick in, and eventually the diminishing returns turn into negative returns. And that's when you start to see the crux of the business, and whether people enjoyed making money off the platform or whether people actually enjoyed the platform. And that is a key issue I want to bring up here, because obviously we've seen the exact same with Sorare. It's the game I know the most about, so why I keep reflecting back to it, and I'm sure a lot of you at home do as well. But that's where you really found out, do I enjoy putting 5 players into a lineup, or do I enjoy the reward day and how much money I earned from it? And that hasn't been seen yet with stocksfc. So if you are thinking of joining, it's one of those two scenarios where, am I early enough to get in, get good returns, take risk off the table before that happens? Or do I wait for that to happen, see how much user growth or how much user growth there is in a negative period, see how strong and sustainable the funness is of this game at the end of the day, and then see it kind of depends on your risk tolerance and how much money you're going to put in and everything else, and not really facts and figures at this point. Now, this next section I'm going to talk about is the marketing, and it is very much opinion based. So if you thought opinion based was before, this is more than that. It's almost just like a feel, and the feeling's good in some places and bad in other places. Where I think it's good is going for, trusted faces in the NFT crypto football community, like Harry, like Nepenthez. That seems like a smart choice to get users on board, get them educated on the platform, and grow from there. Some other stuff that I don't like is like they're doing £100 giveaways if you share your returns on Twitter, like you're entered into a giveaway every week. And it's like, if you're trying to not be Football Index, I don't think the thing you want to be promoting is how much money everyone's making every week. Because although it sounds fun and that's what's going to get attention immediately, people are going to look and say, oh, you can make £100 a week. If that slows down, it's so obvious. And at the same time, to people not involved in it, it just looks like a massive red flag. So that's not something I particularly like. They've also introduced a referral program, getting you certain amounts of money. If you deposit certain amounts of money, it's pretty common. You get it across crypto exchanges, across different NFT projects. Not new, not game breaking or anything bad, probably quite good in the term. It's just what it promotes. And it's that, oh, click my link and sign up so I get money. And it almost seems like a Ponzi scheme, even if it isn't a Ponzi scheme, because everyone wants you to join so they can get their £5 or their £10 or their £20. So yes, very much opinion based. I just think if you are trying to break that stigma of what happened with Football Index, the best way to do it is through gameplay and enjoyment, which of course does have a monetary factor, but pushing users to share how much money they're making. I just don't like it as a concept rather than it being a red flag or anything like that. Another point to touch on that kind of did mention before was it is quite crypto focused. It's got a crypto reliance on Ethereum. So you need Ethereum to buy and sell, put in orders in, you'll go through the Ethereum prices because everything's linked. So as a user, a lot of people won't like that. It obviously has no impact on me. I'm a big crypto guy, big ETH guy, but a lot of users probably won't realize the reliance it has on crypto, and they might not like it. At the minute, in terms of that, I do find it a tough sell. So once you've gone past this initial base of crypto native people, they probably understand how to use it a little bit, or they can convert on ramp to USD or whatever. And people that have used So Rare and similar platforms like that. What does growth look like? Because that's what would kind of concern me from a business perspective right now, and something they have to be thinking about, because you got crypto and you've got a Football Index, similar product. So if you're new to the market, if you're a football fan, lots of football fans hate crypto, lots of football fans hate Football Index and have heard of it and its collapse. So the growth will be difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible or anything like that. I'm just thinking a year down the line, 2 years down the line, how do you grow the business? Will it be tough? Are you Football Index? No, I think they've got some great documents. I'll flash it on screen here. It seems like these guys played or understood Football Index to a high degree and have just saw all of their weaknesses and gone through and improved them. But at the same time, that doesn't make the business sustainable forever. What I saw on the white paper about sustainability was the fact that because of Ethereum, $100 can be split up a million different ways. And if it goes to $10, you can still do the same because it's divisible by 8 figures, I think it is. But again, that doesn't make anything sustainable, because at the end of the day, if you've gone from £1,000 a week prize to £10 a week prize, fans aren't going to be playing the game the same way. They're not going to be getting the same love. They're going to be saying, I'm not going to bother playing for £10. The other thing I wanted to raise, but I'm not 100% certain this is completely accurate, so maybe take it with a pinch of salt, but I think the IPO commission and their commission from the trading market, I think they take 60% of that and put it into the reward pool, and 40% goes to expenses and themselves and whatever else. And that can obviously be changed quite quickly and will need changed for certain aspects, as it would through any business. I just wish it was a bit more prominent and a bit more fixed, maybe saying, we take this and this is for expenses, this is for that. You don't have to be too granular. What I'm saying is that I've seen them show their different wallets for rewards and how much money they got in that, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. They show exactly, how much is available, so any early warning signs that this isn't going to work out, users can see when they want to take their risk off the table. I think that's one of the biggest green flags I've seen on this platform, and it's such a good green flag. Let's take it one step further. Let's be completely exposed to everything. This is the costs of expenses. This is this for that. That would be the next level push that I'd absolutely adore to see on the platform. I've seen it in different crypto projects as well. If you look up at Illuvium, they have broken down exactly how much their run rate is each month. And then they have a total wallet balance. So you can see, right, their run rate is this a month. They've got this much money in the bank. After 25 months, if they don't make any more revenue, it would be over. I think that is a fantastic system to push onto more crypto games, and we haven't seen it in anything else, or I haven't seen it in anything else. You don't see it in Sorare, you don't see it in Pookie, you don't see it in anything like that. But yeah, it's a good thing to introduce if you can. If you're still here after 16 minutes of me talking, thank you so much. Please drop a like and a comment. I'm on my holiday talking about the sustainability of stocksfc for you guys at home. But the next part I wanted to discuss was exploitation, because if I was playing this game, I want to see how much money I can make as quickly as possible, and how would I do it? Well, I'm new to the game, as I said, but how I see it happening at the moment is I would buy players. I would buy some of the best players, expensive, based on their market cap, what I think is a fair price. Sit, hold, not do anything, let them collect their dividends every time they do well, and just wait it out. Wait it out for as long as it takes to get my money back and take that off the platform. Sure, a lot of people have done that and are planning to do that. And that brings up what I consider one of the big red flags of this platform at the minute. And it's that exactly the same thing we actually saw on Sorare, that short-term sustainability versus long-term sustainability. If people aren't putting new income into the platform, it becomes far less sustainable and needs to pivot, as we recently saw on Sorare, to entice new income. Now, how does this work on stocksfc? So if you IPO, that's when they're going to get a majority of their money from. Great. But what if those start to dwindle because you've got your players of every week and you're just running them out, getting rewards each week? I'm not certain, but how I see it playing out is that yes, your rewards become less and less as more players come on the platform, but at the same time, your costs don't really increase. So as long as you've got initial returns high enough to cover the short-term period and get to a stage where you're getting your money back quicker than other users that join later after you, then just the easiest option is to sit and wait and just sit on these players, do nothing, and hope for them to return to you. Hope you pick the right players. Whereas what the businesses want you to do is to buy and sell in and out of players every week, every day, so they're getting commission. But the more you do that, the more commission you're paying away, because you're paying a spread and you're paying the share burn and everything like that. So what I'm saying is that if a load of users come on the platform and do what I'm thinking of doing, and just buy the stocks and let them earn a dividend and take it away if they do well, or even if they don't, just see what they can earn and take it away, it doesn't seem very sustainable for the business, because they'll just be paying out every week. And if people aren't going to those IPOs, yeah, it doesn't work out. But at the same time, they would entice IPOs with the best players they can. But at the same time, if you've got Rodri in the Premier League and there's no midfielder better than him, what's the point in going for the IPO? Still all to be considered. But what I'm trying to say is that reoccurring income, I don't see it as clearly in the long term. So I'm going to emphasize again this first mover advantage that users are seeing at the moment. So of course, a lot of users are enjoying the game and have been playing for a year plus. And right now, they're going to be having the best of times. They're going to be running out their lineups and putting up huge rewards because they had the first mover advantage. But at the same time, they had the highest risk. These guys might have never onboarded as many users as they did now. It could have already been closed down. So they're getting that return for that risk. But you joining today, you're not taking the same risks they were. There's more users on board and your returns are less. But at the same time, it could still be a good time to join the game where they've only got $1 million market cap. That could go up. That's a relatively small number if we think on the larger scale of things here. Just look at the crypto prices of any shitcoin and just go through them and see, wow, there is so much more money that could come to the platform. The only thing, like I discussed before, is that it's a really difficult sell past this Sorare market. How good does this game grow? And what it comes down to is the element I haven't touched on enough in this video. It's the fun element. How fun is a football stock market? Buying and selling players every week based on how well they do, collecting rewards at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of a season. And that's what the game has to do. And it's up to you how well you think that is as a long-term, sustainable, fun game. For myself, my experience with it, it was really fun, but I'm not actively involved in it. I'm not buying and selling players. I'm not, waiting for Madison to score and then selling them in the market. I'm just holding my players. If they collect a dividend, great. And at the same time, it's still enjoyable because I get to go on and refresh. But at the same time, or to counter that, if the rewards started dwindling and I was checking less every week, every month, yeah, it's really tough to say. I think the problem that I see with the actual gameplay at the minute is there's not enough users where the spreads and the activity in the market aren't that vast. So you get large spreads on player, which is effectively the difference between buying and selling a player. So if you bought him and then sold him immediately, how much would you lose in a spread? They're quite wide spreads at the minute because there's not that much liquidity in the platform. So what you can do about that is get more users, and as more users come on, there's more liquidity, so there's more trading, and that's great. And getting to that spot is a difficulty, and it'll be more fun. But that's of course just my opinion on the funness. I know some people play this religiously, they absolutely love it. So you make your own decision about how fun you think it is, and then how fun you think it is in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. That'll give you an idea of, hopefully I've given you an idea of the financial sustainability, and then you have an idea of the fun sustainability, and the fun sustainability links to the financial sustainability. A small thing that I haven't touched on yet, which was a green flag, was that they leave this certain amount of money, I think it's 5% of the IPO cost, so that no matter what happens, that 5% is always available there for users to get out what's left of the platform. So even if it went to zero, it's never going truly to zero. You've got that 5% there. But at the same time, you've got to be realistic and counter that and say, well, you can still lose 95%. But a counter to a counter, 5% is better than 0%. So it's a good green flag, but it doesn't make, an investment. It's like, yes, you've got to invest in that. You can only lose 95%. A half point that I wanted to touch on, but it's not my area of expertise really, is the whole licensing issue. So they have a license, so they can, mint the players and sell the players, but has that been rigorously tested by a lawyer, or what happens if another company comes in and tries to sue them or something like that? Because I know how much SoRare's license costs for the Premier League. So to think these guys can sell cards or NFTs in a very similar way, I don't really get how it's possible without paying a huge licensing fee. But they said they have a license, so trust them for now. And yeah, that's all I'll say. Also reached out to someone I trust to get his opinions on the game because he plays it quite a lot. And his initial thoughts were very addictive, very fun. It does kind of have a scratch of like a gambling itch. So if you are wary of that, probably not the game for you. Rewards being pegged to ETH, reliance on ETH, he mentioned that as well. Does think the user base is really low, so there's potential to grow, and as the first mover advantage, you get better returns, things like that. Thinks they've improved on a lot of areas where Football Index struggled, like we've seen, and Harry referenced in all of his video. Also the IPOs, a reliance on needing that to pay out rewards, and if that drops or whatever. And the fact that everything to some degree is a Ponzi scheme. If Nike stopped selling shoes, then there wouldn't be a Nike anymore. But yeah, just someone else's opinions to balance out mine. Time for the conclusion then. Should you play stocksfc? I'm not going to tell you your answer. It's all on your own financial implications, how much risk you're willing to take, what returns you're looking for, absolutely everything else. But what I will tell you is my opinion on it. Would I play stocksfc? Yes, I think I would. Ultimately, it's something different to SoRare, it's something different to Pookie. I'm a high risk tolerance guy. I'm happy to lose everything if it goes that way. That's just the way I live my life. It's fun and I'm looking for fun. But at the same time, I wouldn't put huge amounts of money in like I have with SoRare. For accounts, I've got £6,000 on SoRare at the minute. I'd probably put 10% or 20% of that into stocksfc because I see the medium term being very difficult to navigate in terms of onboarding new users. Where's the next demographic going to come from? It's difficult to know. That doesn't mean it's impossible. I just struggle to see it. At the same time, when these rewards dry out, how fun is the game? I don't know. For me, reasonably fun, not the funnest of games. Gets less fun the less money you make. So really difficult to see. But at the other time, you can really see some huge improvements that the team have made on the collapse of Football Index, and some easy wins and opinions of mine, of course, easy wins, where they can improve the game and they can diversify their income streams and they can make it a lot more sustainable and provide a better product at the end of the day. So that's what I'm thinking, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I just would play it if I have the money spare. Doesn't mean I have it spare now. And of course, I'm not an expert. I've just done as much research as I can for this video. So I hope you found it helpful. And do drop me your honest comments about whether you would play it, whether you think I should play it, and everything in between. But besides that, all the best, G. Cheers.